Kitara FC clinched their first ever Uganda Cup trophy and a major piece of silverware for them. The win also guarantees Kitara FC a qualification ticket to represent Uganda at the Confederation Cup, a first for them. We'll be speaking to Paul Muchudezi, who is the Kitara FC vice captain. On the 1st of June, the US and Canada will compete at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in the opening match, which will be in Dallas, Texas. Uganda will play their first game against Afghanistan on the 4th of June. That will be the Providence Stadium in Guyana. A first two for them. Another first for Ronald Rugumayo, who is in Germany for the European Golf Tour. A very good evening to you and welcome. This is NTV Sport Nights and welcome to those who are watching us for the very first time. My name is Mebo Kebirunji. Glad to have your company this Monday. On the show, we'll also be speaking to boxer Isaac Zebra Senyange on stepping out of his late father's shadow. But first, head over to X and let us know who you think this personality is, the sports personality we have of the week. Do head over to X and remember to use the hashtag at NTV Sport Nights, at NTV Sport Nights. And the clue there is German sniper. Who do you think the German sniper is? And for our greatest of all time, we're asking you to let us know your greatest of all time FA Cup or Uganda Cup final. What memory do you have? Is it probably the last weekend where, you know, they really messed up most of our predictions here on the panel, but happy for some. And I guess for others, I don't know if there'll be apologies, like, for instance, from the head of sport, who has been saying he needs to apologize to a couple of people this year. Well, indeed, as we speak about our predictions and what happened at the FA Cup, the two finals, we had the FA Cup and the Uganda Cup final, we could show you our predictions table.
I'll start with you, Isma.
They're playing it now, are they? I thought they would show the table. Yeah, someone like Clive will have to explain to us why he was in Uganda. He chose one thing, and when he went to the UK, why he chose another. So Clive will be joining us live from the UK, and we believe we'll be seeing different curtains. Good to have you, Clive. But I'll start with the panel here in the studio, head of Sport Nation Media Group, Isma Dakaba Chigongo.
Good evening, Mebo, and good evening to the viewers. Glad to be here.
Are you going to start with an apology?
Maybe not. I'll probably start with a greeting to my friend Dixon Bond Okello. He's been in Egypt. He was head of security at the CAF Champions League final, the second leg between Al Ahly and Esperance. Esperance won the game by 1-0. Rather, Al Ahly won the game by 1-0. And he returned to Uganda today. And he found reason to call me. He always does, because we've traveled this continent with him quite a bit. So I thought, for good measure, because Dixon has always argued that he thinks NTV should start a show in Langi. So he can be so happy. I thought I should send him greetings that are not in Langi, but satisfaction. Welcome back, and good you are in Cairo over the weekend.
Or you could say something like Itiema Bear. Yes. Yeah. Sports pundit Rema Ntale, good to see you.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here, and of course, congratulations to Kitara.
Andrew,
say that.
Andrew, I'm sure is very happy, excited about his predictions. Loyal, I would say, because I think you went with your heart. Or I don't know if you went with your heart, but not your head.
Actually, I went with the heart on the Bayer Leverkusen prediction, and I failed it. I mean, whatever goes up comes down at some point. I should have gone with Atalanta.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Okay, and Clive will be joining us a little bit later. But we'll start with our starters. And Isma, yeah, your starter for the week.
My starter for this week is in the sport of boxing. There's only a few months to the Olympics, and Uganda is trying to get boxers to qualify for the Paris 2024 games that start July 26th. I actually even forget the start date, but at least I know one date about the Olympics, August 2nd. the final of the 10,000 meters. Jacob Kiplimo versus Joshua Cheptegei versus Ethiopians. A Kenyan will be 4th or 5th. It's 2 Ugandans versus Ethiopians, and then the rest of the field, because that's where the gold will be. Anyway, one of the sports that has done very well at the Olympic Games since Uganda first participated in the Games has been the sport of boxing.
Yes.
But the sport has fallen on very, very, very hard times. That these days it's barely competitive to get boxers to that level. The editions that the sport cannot qualify boxers. And then the editions where they are there just to make up numbers, the kind that we in the media race describe as tourists, even when they are not. Anyway, the chances to qualify for the Games are ongoing. And over the past weekend, there's 3 Ugandan boxers who traveled to, over the past week, 3 Ugandan boxers traveled to Bangkok in the country of Thailand to try and qualify for the Olympics, because there's a qualification tournament that has been ongoing. One of them is Muzamiru Kakande, now based in Germany. We used to call him King Kong while he was based here. His story is very famous. I think NTV did it so many years ago. His father is a butcher. And Muzamiru Kakande has grown up from a story of rags to rags to rags, maybe there's riches now in Germany. I haven't spoken to him in quite some time. So he's one of the 3. The other is the one you see on the screen in the white pants. That is Shadir Musawoji, one who fights out of here. And then the other one is Regan Simbwa. These days, the Olympics does allow professional boxers to fight at the Olympic Games. So Tyson Fury tomorrow can choose to go to Paris, but he has to qualify. Yeah, or Alexander Usyk, or any one of them. So you're hearing names like Muzamiru Kakande, Shadir Musawoji, who do not necessarily fight in the amateur setting, in the Boxing Champions League or all these other events that are happening currently. So the 3 of them are trying to qualify for Olympics. The first one in the ring was Muzamiru Kakande, and he lost his fight to a Cuban called Jorge Cuela. And that is 1 Olympic ticket gone. Then the next one in the ring was Shadir Musawoji, the one on the screen, fought against a boxer from Tajikistan in the 80 kilogram category. And that boxer is Nekruz Salimov. And he too lost. So there is one more chance for a Ugandan boxer to make the Olympics, and that's Regan Simbwa. He will be fighting this week on Thursday. And these qualification tournaments have happened repeated. Remember, they started last year after the fight between AIBA, if you love your politics, and the International Olympic Committee, Russia, and the West and all. So no Ugandan boxers qualified yet for the Games. The others that Uganda sent out earlier, there were Yusuf Nkobeza and Joshua Tukamuhebwa in Europe for a qualifying tournament in Italy. Neither of them returned. The reasons don't need to be debated on the show, but the economic hardship, the osmosis that takes people out of low temperatures to high temperatures, or the reverse, is what has happened to them, and they've since moved on. So it's going to be very, very hard for Uganda to have any boxer in Paris.
So on
That's quite sad.
Of course, going their way, had they qualified?
No, they hadn't. That's why they were in Bangkok to fight, and they failed.
Oh, God.
So Regan Simbwa has a chance, and he'll be fighting later this week against a boxer, I think from Australia. And if he does do well, then maybe he advances to the later rounds. Yeah, but that's how difficult it's been for them so far.
Okay, we clearly have to pull up our socks in boxing. Rema, what's your starter for the week?
Well, mine is about the girls again, and this time it's the FUFA Women's Super League. Yeah, Kawempe Muslim girls, the ladies, are the champions. They were declared champions on Sunday. They only needed a draw, but of course they made easy work of Kampala Queens, beating them by 2-0, scored by 2 girls, one of them being Agnes Nabukenya. And looking at Agnes Nabukenya, she has been some kind of latometa for for Kampala Queens, because when you look at the reverse fixture, she's the one who scored the brace that beat them from Lugogo.
The free kick, yeah.
Beautiful one, yeah. The girls are doing a very great job there. And Kawempe Muslim, after of course beating Kampala Queens 2-0, won their 5th title in the league after featuring 9 seasons. So you can see that they are the record champions. Then also you were looking at their first win in 5 seasons, something that shows that they have done a lot of work to bring themselves back to the table up there. And some of the reasons when you look at Kawempe and how they have been doing their business is that you are going to see a lot of consistency in their coaching staff. That's a team that has had Ayub Khalif, you know, the heart of the team. He has all the experience. He has been on the national team, manning girls. Then, of course, coming from Kawempe, dealing with girls. He has all that experience in the girls' football. And then he has one assistant who has been there, I think, since time immemorial, in Moses Nkata. You know, that's a team that has been consistent with their coaching staff. He knows which girls to give which game, and they transition from age. Yeah, that's Ayub Khalifa trying to hug one of the officials there, and of course his team being victorious. That was very good news there. But it has not come by mistake. Kawempe has also been that team that has featured in almost all competitions that come by schools competitions. They have been in the Umea Games, they have been featuring in the nationals, they have played in the East African Games. Recently they went for the African Schools Championships, still playing. So you can see that some of this has not come by a mistake. And also when you look at the opponents, because they won by 40 points, winning 12 games there and drawing 2, then also making sure they were losing only 2 games in 18, the entire season. So you can see that they have done a great job, and their opponents have not been up to their billing, because you're looking at Kampala Queens, the defending champions. Actually, they took the trophy from Kampala Queens. They have not been good at all. They have not been the kind of defending champions who will come out there and show their prowess. No, they have had issues, of course, in the dressing room. And when you look at how they play, I think they are the Vipers of Uganda, because they recruit all the cream de la cream. But at the end of the day, they run short, you know, they are spoiled for choice. You don't know which player to put here, which player to put there, you know. And at the end of the day, it does not do them well. So it has affected them this season, probably next season better. But Kawempe Muslim are the champions.
As champions. Thank you very much. We shall now cross over to Clive, fresh from Wembley. It's 8:30 where you are. Good evening. Welcome to NTV Sport Nights. Tell us how you have been, and possibly if you do have a starter.
Yes, Mabel, thank you very much for having me together with the team. It is 8:30 and the sun is just setting. So, but of course, we'll still have the lights out there probably up to until 10 p.m. But yes, I do have a starter. And like you said, I spent pretty much my Saturday afternoon and evening at Wembley Stadium for the final of the FA Cup, where Manchester United defeated Manchester City 2-1. But while I was there and trying to do different things prior to that gathering content, one thing that I observed or came to my mind is what we have back home, and we have time and again talked about, saying that it is not applicable, it does not make sense to have a stadium in the middle of the city. And of course, we've said that in reference at what we have in downtown Kampala, that is an Achievable Stadium. But it also pretty much speaks volumes, because in the different African countries we've been to, Andrew and Ismail will tell you, most of the stadiums, especially the main stadiums, are outside the city center, probably because that is where you will find enough land to put the stadium and all the other things that come with it. But then here you are, you have the National Stadium in Wembley Stadium in the middle of the city. But also what you get to realize that while it was being put there, of course, it is something that has been around for many years, redeveloped just recently. When they were planning their city, they planned that we will be having a stadium here, and whatever plan we are doing, we need to make sure that we accommodate the stadium. But while we are accommodating the stadium, we need to make sure that we don't inconvenience other people, especially those who will be working around the stadium. So the transport system is built to support those going to work, those going to the stadium, and all that. The access routes or the access areas are constructed or designed to facilitate those accessing the facility, but also making sure that they don't inconvenience other people who are not part of the football business, but they probably have business around the facility. But something that if you brought back here, that you had somebody building a stadium, and they first built the shopping malls around the area before they actually built the actual stadium. But then they did gather to plan or to cater for other people who are planning to have their businesses around that same facility. So for me, it was fascinating, but also I got to know, because I have plans of visiting other facilities like the Emirates, the London Stadium and all that, just to get to see, of course, a tour a bit, but also get to see how these things were planted in the middle of the city, but also how other people go about with their businesses without being inconvenienced. But the work goes on as planned. You have a big football game happening. The two biggest teams in the country are playing, but it won't suspend business around the facility. It won't frustrate a business, especially for those who are not concerned about what is going on. So for me, that was an observation, and probably moving forward, we should not just think about having sports facilities or whatever facilities where we have land, but there needs to be a little bit of a planning, and which planning should be involving all the stakeholders, because very soon we are going to be having the Kampala Arena, from what we are being told, which will be in Lugogo, and you hope that once that thing is being constructed, it does not inconvenience other people who will be conducting businesses around the area where we plan to have the sports facility. So for me, that's my startup for the day.
Okay, thank you very much, Clive, and glad to know that you'll be with us throughout the show. And Andrew, just before we go to you, just a reminder that we are proudly sponsored by Predator, the energy drink that fuels your hustle.
We didn't respond to the different starters, but it's very hard to leave Clive's starter without any. Now, listening to Clive,
we're going to talk about. We'll have time for FA Cup.
Yeah, but listening to Clive, and you're seeing everything that's wrong here, because the difference between us and what Clive is telling us is the planning is done by the right people, following the right systems, so that by the time the stadium comes up, there's that coordination, the roads, accessibility and all. So it tells the whole story, because I'll tell you, you want something, you meet the head of state and they say, go ahead. How many steps have been missed? So I'm not surprised, as Clive is telling us that, and the fact that if say Wembley was done by some private developer, of course everything was done with government and the municipality and all, but if you come up and then what you've put up is actually not in line, you could actually face arrest. Like, the structure is there and everything about it is wrong. You face arrest.
But I think our problem is not really planning.
It is planning, actually. It is planning and skipping of processes. The processes are not followed. It's strong people who make decisions.
Not
so
processes.
Yeah. So can we now go to my starter?
The floor is yours.
My starter is, it's a beautiful starter. Maybe you're a parent, you would really associate. We have a 9-year-old Ugandan.
I'm also a parent.
Yes, yes.
Go on.
Okay, we have a 9-year-old Ugandan called Joseph Sebatindira. I do not know of a Ugandan at that level who took over the world in the sport that they play the way this boy has done. Wow. Last year in October, he became the first Ugandan to win a world title in table tennis in Cairo. That's the under 11 World Table Tennis Contender Championships. He won an award as well at USPA. So that was the start. Now, if we thought that was a fluke, he traveled to Doha in January, where he also won the same title, world title. Just last week, he moved to Europe. Now this is how big it is. The only African at these, the 3 championships he's going to play. He's played already in Poland. He's moving to Sweden, the next, and the final is in Norway. Now in Poland, he is, or was, because the tournament ended in Poland at the weekend, the only, not just the only Ugandan, the only African at the European under 11 and under 13 championships. Now, he played 11 matches, won 10. He lost only 1 in the under 13 in the quarterfinal against a Pole as well. Now, he just added to his national, international CV or world CV, the title in Poland of under 11 by winning that before he moved to Sweden. Now, I want to, just to show you the journey and how mentally tough this boy is. In the group stage, in the under 11, he beat Caspian Borek 3-0, 3 sets. He literally won the 3 games by 3 sets, all of them, beating the Poles. Now it's in the quarterfinal where he was checked. Now remember that last Thursday, he was beaten in the quarterfinals by another Pole for the under 13, but he had won all the rest until that. But in the under 11, clean sweeps in the group stage, quarterfinal, he came from 2-0, he came from 2-1 down. Yes, he came from 2-1 down to win 3-2, meeting Miloš Grokorski. These are Polish names, quite hard. Now in the semifinals, strangely after struggling in the quarter, it was a sweep in the semifinals. But then in the finals where his mentor really came to test. Remember, he had lost in the quarterfinals of the under 13. Yeah. Now here he goes, and he loses. He wins the first set, loses the second and third. Now, in the fourth, where he's trying to level, he was leading 9-7. And the umpire awarded him a point, which was in error, because the opponent served and the ball jumped off the net, and then he returned it, and he thought he had won a point. But then this kid told the umpire, no, it's a mistake. The ball kissed the net. And then he went on to win that, I think 11-7. So won that final from 2-1 down, 3-2. Those are 3 world titles between October last year and now. Now he moves to Sweden for another, still playing in the under 12 and under 13. And then later in June, Norway as well. As a country, we need to be proud. And really now, for those who don't follow table tennis, now you'll be looking out for Joseph Sebatindera in the newspapers and on TV. I'm really happy about what's happening with this kid, and especially how mentally tough he is, because he is beating the Poles from their home.
I know.
And usually when some of our players go out there, they are overwhelmed by the arenas, the atmosphere, the ambience.
By the shows.
Yes, the shows,
I know some of our athletes, the female athletes, who are overwhelmed by the amount of makeup Sanya Richards-Ross was applying in the warm-up area.
You can imagine.
By the time they walked out, they were beaten. I know a sprinter who told me she got the line and looked at the spikes and knew she had lost.
Oh my God. So such things. And they mentally weigh down on the athletes. At the end of the day, we don't get the results.
We are going to host Isaac Zebra Senyange.
Oh yeah.
He's going to tell these stories of mouth guards and all. Luckily for him now, Isaac, he's past that.
Yeah, he should be.
He looks like it looks like a bit of 1,000 shillings on him.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we will be playing our weekly nightlights now, but just a reminder, head over to X and let us know who you think our sports personality of the week is. The clue we are giving you is German Sniper. Here are our weekly nightlights.